Recently, there was a lot of euphoria over the pay parity by the BCCI for both the women as well as the male cricketers.
Now we are getting the equal pay as men are getting, and I'm really happy. And I'm really happy. This is happening now, and I'm sure now a lot of girls in India, they will take cricket as a professional career.
All that is fine, but now this time we ask a question of our politicians. Is it also time for a women's reservation bill to be finally passed by Parliament? I'm Pallavi Ghosh, and on One Take this week, I'm asking this particular question. The Women's Reservation Bill has actually been passed, but only in Rajya Sabha, and because it was introduced and passed in Rajya Sabha, it remains alive because as per the constitutional requirement. But Lok Sabha proves to be a hurdle. It was passed in March 2010 after much hangama inside the Rajya Sabha with many political parties opposing it. Despite the fact that the UPA, the Congress-led UPA, was in power, there were many leaders within the Congress party who had their reservations over the Women Reservation Bill, and therefore, as Sonia Gandhi herself told me once in an interview, my own party leaders were against it, which is why I do not have the courage to take it up in Lok Sabha.
We saw those scenes inside Rajya Sabha. Did that upset you? Did that make you think at some point of time that perhaps we could put it off a little later? Lalu and Mulayam Singh Yadav, they were your allies?
Of course, we understand their compulsions, their problems, but it is my hope that they will understand and they will look at the larger picture.
Okay,
why can't women, after all, be empowered?
Before we dwell into what really have our Netas done as far as the women or political empowerment of women is concerned, a word about the Women Reservation Bill. Essentially, it talks about 1/3 reservation or 33% of reservation or seats both in the Lok Sabha as well as in state legislatives to ensure that women actually come to power from that particular quota. This would require a constitutional amendment, and therefore passing it in both the houses is not such an easy task. Certainly not in Lok Sabha. The fundamental reason behind the Women Reservation Bill is that it leads to political empowerment. It's only when you have political, economic and social empowerment can really women become powerful in our country. Well, over the years, why it's been mum's the word as far as the Women Reservation Bill is concerned, and most political parties have only offered lip service in terms of giving women their due, even during the distribution of tickets. It's been mired in a lot of controversy and in lip service. If we look out at the data which has been put out by the Parliament itself, the two political parties which really have given the maximum number of tickets to women has been the Biju Janata Dal and the Trinamool Congress. In fact, the TMC enjoys the largest number of women MPs taking both Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha together. But that kind of a photo opportunity or lip service has been made for women's political empowerment. The Congress party certainly tried to do so when they had Meera Kumar as their speaker, when Pratibha Patil was made the president, and the fact that the Congress was headed by a woman president, Sonia Gandhi, for a long time. The BJP upstaged it by having a woman defense minister, that's Nirmala Sitharaman, a full-time woman as a finance minister, again Nirmala Sitharaman. You have a woman from also a humble background, Draupadi Murmu, as a president. We also had Sumitra Mahajan as a speaker in the Lok Sabha as well. The Prime Minister and the BJP have been stressing on more representation of women. Certainly when you give out SOPs to them, when you give out benefits to them, whether in terms of education, sanitary facilities, toilets, kind of easy loans for them, making more and more women entrepreneurs, and the tribe and numbers have certainly been increasing. It's only when it comes to a women reservation bill, there seems to be a lot of reluctance. And the reason is not very far to seek, it's the men. And the reason, of course, is that most of the politicians do understand that once you empower the women politically, the control of the men over the political space will get reduced. But there are several sides to this argument. Some argue that merely reserving seats in both the Lok Sabha as well as in the state legislative councils under the Women Reservation Bill is not enough. There could be proxy governance, which means that you may give a ticket to a Mahila, and even if she is voted to power, it's her husband or a brother or whatever the case may be who may actually emerge as the power behind her. Famous example is often given of Rabri Devi, where she became the chief minister because Lalu Prasad Yadav was convicted and he could not be the chief minister and had to resign. But was she the real power center? A movie like Maharani 1 and Maharani 2, if you see on the OTT platform, also raised this issue about where she began as a rubber stamp but over time tried to emerge as her own. Political parties like the BJP, to a certain extent, I would also say the Trinamool Congress, believe that more than a women's reservation bill, it is important to empower women right at the base, right at the root, which is at the Gram Panchayat level. But that's also where you see the proxy governance to a very great extent. States which have registered a growth in the number of women panchayats have also told us a story about where they were often not be seen inside the panchayat office. In fact, if you remember, there was an OTT serial called Panchayat, in which essentially this tells the story about how the woman, Neena Gupta in that case, she actually may have been the Gram Panchayat, but the power was exercised by a husband behind the scenes. And the argument which has been given by political parties is that this is not the way we want it. And that's the reason a women reservation bill may not really make much of a difference. Political parties have started to give tickets at the Gram Panchayat level, particularly the BJP, on the grounds that when you empower women at the root, they slowly start rising, and you send out a message that if she exercises her own power, if she calls the shots and not a husband or a brother or as the case may be, or any other man on her behalf, that's where a woman and political empowerment actually take place. But why is it so difficult for the women reservation bill to be cleared? You know, the matter has also come up in courts where political parties, particularly the central government, have been asked for the reservation. The government's on record response has been that many factors would have to be considered because it's a complicated one. The reason actually is that parties like the Samajwadi Party at one point of time, the RJD, all of them opposed the women reservation bill. That is something which Sonia Gandhi herself conceded, that despite the fact that the Congress party had the maximum number of seats, even in Lok Sabha when the UPA was in power at the centre, she couldn't get that consensus or that unanimity or convince her own allies that the time for the women reservation bill has come. The BJP may want the bill to be passed, but is there going to be a consensus? Because as long as the males stop that bastion from falling, where they can call the shots, a women reservation bill may either not be passed, and even if it's passed to make a political point, unless and until you don't give more and more tickets to women in both Lok Sabha as well as in the state assembly elections, nothing is going to change. You saw what happened recently in the UP state assembly elections, where the narrative was set by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, ladki hu, lad sakti hu, and therefore 40% of those seats were reserved for girls and women. But what happened? They never found good candidates. They never found winnable candidates. There's also this narrative that you may reserve tickets and seats for women under the women reservation bill, but because you haven't given them that opportunity earlier, getting winnable candidates may not be easy. And that's argument which is reserved by most of the political parties who oppose the women's reservation bill, that at the end of the day, elections are fought to be won. If we cannot get winning women candidates, then what's the point of a women reservation bill? And therefore I ask you for your response on the social media platform. We are going to put them all out. Has the time come for women reservation bill? Or is it going to be just mired in lip talk and nothing is going to change in terms of the real political empowerment of women? Thank you so much for watching.